you go ahead and kick us off because I think Scott's having issues.
All right, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 22 of the Rock for Him podcast. I'm Jeremy, your host, and joining me are my good friends Jason and Scott. And tonight is Tempus Unum. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. We're excited to be on here.
We're excited to have you guys. So tell us a little bit about yourselves and the band.
So we are a post-hardcore band from Indianapolis, Indiana. We formed in 2020 during the COVID lockdown. It just kind of happened it was a dream that I've had since I was a kid. So having more time on my hands led to having more time to write music, and it just kind of happened. It started with our drummer, Adam, and me. We met in college at University of Indianapolis, and because he played drums, I played guitar, we were like, we both like metal, maybe we should do something. And then, so that's how we met, that's how the idea started. We started kicking around some different ideas. And then Lincoln, one of our guitarists, started showing up to church one day, where Adam and I go, and we were like, hey, we're pretty good, you should check us out and, maybe join. So he loved it, he fit right in, so then it was just us three for a little bit there until Rowan kind of just showed up. If Rowan, do you want to talk about how you kind of fell into this?
Yeah, they told me they had snacks, and I was like, I'm in.
I'm joining the band!
No, so I met Lincoln through some mutual friends. Actually, a crazy story. We met in the middle of a snowstorm when my buddy popped his tires, and it was a wild night, and me and Lincoln got really close. And I ran into him at a show at the Hoosier Dome here in Indy, and he introduced me to Nevaeh, and we just all really kicked it off. And then I actually, my media production company, we were looking to give a band a free music video, just kind of as a giveaway. And I was like, well, I want to pick you guys to do this because I was impressed when I heard Tempus Unum for the first time, and I was like, I want this for you guys. And I kind of just grew with the band, and then Nevaeh was like, bro, you should join the band. And I was like, I am so down. So yeah, that's kind of how I joined.
Yeah, and then we have one other member, Ryan, who is our bass player, who is actually mainly a guitar player, but we were like, hey, you should play bass. And he was so down for it. Ryan and I met because we worked together, and we just kind of hit it off, and I was like, you would fit right in with these guys, and lo and behold, he did. Now he's here.
Awesome.
Great. So we've been dying to know, and a lot of times when we ask bands this question, there's always a story. How did you guys come up with your name, Tempus Unum? Did I do it right?
Yes.
Yes.
So
I struggle.
Yeah, I know. There was actually a YouTube channel that was called Unus Honest. It was just for 1 year. And I thought it was cool because it's Latin for 1 year, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And so while this channel was still going is when we kind of started this, and so we had a Google Doc of a bunch of different names we could choose from, and I was like, okay, well, here are these basic names that people already have. And, if someone talks about them, you're going to be like, okay, but which one? Because there's 20 different bands with that same name. And so I liked the idea of One Moment, even though it's kind of basic. Because to me, it was when you're on stage, when someone's listening to your songs or something, you only have one moment to get your message across. You don't have a short, if you're on stage, you only got a short 30 minutes at best. So I was like, okay, well, One Moment, there's 20 bands named One Moment. I was like, Unus Honest, that's Latin, that's kind of cool. So why don't we look up what One Moment would be in Latin? and I think it did pop up Tempus Unum the first time, but if you were to look up Tempus Unum, it just translates to one time. But I was like, whatever, it works. So lo and behold, Tempus Unum, and that's how we got it.
That is awesome.
Cool.
I got to tell you, I looked it up today because I was like, all right, I got to figure out what this means. I'm like, it's got to mean like eye of the storm. Because I'm thinking tempest. That's like a storm. It's like the storm of one moment. That's kind of cool. So
Very cool. And I liked how you said you only have sometimes one moment to get the message across. That's super cool. Very creative. I love it.
Thank you.
absolutely. So one thing that we love to do here on the show when we have guests on is to ask you about your salvation stories. How did you come to know who Christ is?
Ellen, do you want to go first?
Go
Yeah,
first.
I'll go first.
Ladies first.
Yeah, no,
Oh.
ladies first. That's you.
Oh, sorry. I guess I interrupted her.
Well,
Whoever
unless
wants to
she
go
says
first.
Differently. Unless she says differently.
I can go first.
I'll say, yeah, you tell me. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, I'll just go. Okay. So I grew up in the church. Both my parents are actually pastors. My mom's a worship pastor, and my dad's like a lead pastor. So it's just something I kind of always knew. But there have been a lot of struggles growing up. Stuff I won't get into, but I always believed in God, but I don't feel like I ever really had that connection, I guess, until I reached high school. I found myself kind of not in the best headspace, kind of leaning into that whole depression, emo phase, as people call it. I got into a not very healthy relationship and all this stuff, and I just felt like I was going down, 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 down. And it was a lot of looking to God and being like, where are you at? And then him just being silent. And so there were a lot of struggles for sure. But when I finally kind of realized that, maybe I'm just not listening hard enough, which sounds cheesy, but it's just true. I had my focus on other things. I was trying to control my own life, and I still struggle with that, trying to take control and trying to figure stuff out on my own. But it got to a point where I was like, I can't figure this out on my own. And I had to kind of humble myself. And that's when I truly heard him. And I was like, okay, I'm all in. And I got involved in my church here a lot. And I mean, I still struggle sometimes. Like a song that we haven't released yet called Relief is like all about that journey of not being able to hear God, but knowing he's still there. And that's a song I wrote like a year ago. So it's something I still struggle with, but it definitely is in those lower moments that I have found myself feeling more connected and finding that freedom after the struggle.
That's great. I think you described a lot of young kids that grew up in the church who, like myself, where we did a lot of stuff because that's what everyone was doing, and that's what our parents told us to do, and we kind of followed. And then you come to that point where you have that realization of, wow, why am I doing this? I'm only doing it because everybody else said. And God kind of grabs a hold of you, and I love that. We've heard that a few times, and speak to me as well. And it's cool that I thought it's funny that you said in high school you're in searching and in toxic relationships, because isn't that high school? I mean, but I love it. That's a great testimony. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Up
Yeah,
next.
Yeah. So, So for me, I grew up going to church for a few years when I was younger. I kind of drifted out of that. I come from a big family, and it was just, it was a lot. And I mean, I've always been a Christian, but it was, when I was younger, it was just a thing. I would go every Sunday, and we kind of quit, and it just became one of those things. It's like, oh, we don't go to church anymore. And I mean, I've always been a believer, but I kind of quit, living how a true believer should. And I was kind of just going through life, and I mean, it was all right. I've had lots of ups and downs. I've experienced a lot of loss in my life, and that kind of all boiled up to the point of, kind of like Nev said, your emo phase, which is also one of the reasons that I became a musician. That kind of helped me through all of that. But yeah, and then when I was about 16, I started touring with some smaller acts in the U.S., just doing social media and stuff. And, with touring and all that stuff becomes, the bad habits of tour, the drinking, a little bit of drugs, all that. I was like, I kind of found myself, and I'm like, whoa, I'm like, what am I doing with my life right now? And yeah, I just kind of realized I needed to get my life back on track. And I did, and things started going well. And then my father actually passed away, which was kind of like one of those big, like, shocking moments of like, wow, I need to, turn to God and, use this opportunity. I mean, really, it was an opportunity that kind of opened my eyes, if you will, and was like, yeah. And yeah, so I mean, I've gone back and forth, but that was kind of the final one where I was like, you know what? I need to, kind of like Nev said, I need to open my eyes and be like, wow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I love hearing each and every one of these stories. Like Scott says, we've heard similar stories in almost every episode, but each one is just so personal and so beautiful. And that's why we ask. We love hearing how Christ works in your life. It's amazing. Each and every one of them is fantastic. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, no problem. And I absolutely agree. It's fantastic. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, I write a lot of music, and obviously some of that's not released and with me just joining the band, but we have a lot of stuff in the works, and a lot of it is me telling my story of, really of hope, if you think about it. So.
Awesome.
So, who are you guys influenced by, both lyrically and musically?
So I know for the majority of all of us as a whole, we definitely have been influenced by bands like Wage War, Fit for a King, Thrice, Memphis Mayfire, Silverstein, Wolves at the Gate, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, Roland, did you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I agree with all those. I mean, like, Wage War has been one of those bands that I've been inspired by since, like, the first time I heard them way back when I was, like, maybe 10. And yeah, although I do gotta give a big shout out to Kingdom of Giants. They're one of my currently favorite bands right now, and a lot of my writing, lyrics and music is very inspired by them. But yeah, other than that, yeah, Nev, you pretty much covered all the big bands. We kind of all like the same music.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Awesome. So I know you're a newer band, and I think you've sent us 3 EPs. Is there more than that? Is there a full-length album, or is that in the works? It sounds like you've got a couple of new ones on the way. Maybe you could shed a little light on what you've done and maybe what's coming.
Yeah, so we have, unless Roland, do you want to talk?
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna let you take this one.
Okay. So we have 2 singles out right now called Slander and Decay. Slander was our very first one that we actually are planning to revamp a little bit, since we've learned a lot since we first did that. So we're going to re-release that with an EP. Then Decay is definitely one of our heavier ones. Yeah, so we are hoping that by the end of the year we can get an EP out. It's going to have 5 songs in total, at least as of right now. I mean, we have songs that could add up to an album. It's just a matter of getting them fully written, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and produced. And...
Yeah. So, like, we have, as I said, Slender and Decay out, but then there are going to be 3 more songs. Right now, as of right now at least, I believe it's going to be a song called Don't Fix Me, which is written by our guitarist Lincoln. And then Peace of Mind, which is written lyric-wise is by me. And then we have Relief, which Relief is that one I mentioned about. It's kind of like a worship song, honestly. There's some like worship builds in there, and it's probably my favorite, honestly. But yeah.
That's awesome. And I got to tell you, I was listening to both songs today because as we get ready to have people on, I always, almost play the songs into. If you could wear them out on your phone, they would be worn out because I just play them all day long listening. And for those of you that are watching or listening to the show right now, go and listen to Decay because I'm telling you, it has this beautiful mix of just this heavy guitar and drums, and then Nevaeh, your voice comes in, and it's just like a perfect blend of this beautiful voice and this heavy music. It honestly hits you hard. So, I mean, for being a newer band, that is fantastic. I gotta tell you, that it's amazing. So thank you for that.
Well, also, I mean, it's going over on our station big. I mean, it's been on our top 15 for wow.
Yeah, I
Probably
actually
should have looked it up, but it's been on. Did you look it up, Jeremy?
No, it's at least the last couple months. So
Yeah.
I mean, people are loving it.
So, anyways, one thing that we always ask, and this is kind of a fun question for you guys. If any band whatsoever were to call you, or anyone whatsoever were to call you, and just say, you know what, I don't care what you're doing right now, drop what you're doing, pack up your stuff, I'll be at your house in 5 minutes, you're going on tour, who would you want it to be?
So, I feel like my answer is kind of lame. With that, all of the bands that we kind of are influenced by, I would love to play with. Like I think our top two or top three would definitely be Wage War Thrice and Fit for a King, and I know Roland said Polaris the other day when we were talking. Yeah. So, I mean, really anything. I mean, I would love to play a show with Convictions. I'd love to play a show with, who are they? Beartooth.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
And don't think that your answers are silly, because I got to tell you, the last episode we did, we asked that question, and out of the blue we got, well, I'd love to tour with Kelly Clarkson, and I I was like,
Yep.
Where did that come from? I mean, fantastic answer.
I remember our. I think our drummer jokingly said the Wiggles.
The Wiggles, yes.
I've seen the Wiggles live. They're amazing. Captain Feathersword.
Would love to tour with the Wiggles.
Oh, that's awesome.
Honestly,
So, what was the last concert you paid to see?
So, I think I'm just going to say the last concert that we paid to see and kind of went as a band was the Trinity of Terror tour with Ice Nine, Kills, Motionless in White, Black Veil Brides, which they're coming back, so we're going to that again. I know we have like a list coming up that we paid for tickets to go see. Like, I Prevail we're going to see, which they're playing with Pierce the Veil and Fit for a King, which is an interesting lineup.
Oh yeah.
And then like I'm going to see Beartooth and Silverstein, and then A Day to Remember with Silverstein. And, so we got like a nice list of concerts that we're going to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a great list. I love it.
It is. Good heavy band.
Usually, we go from concerts you went to see to concerts you're going to be performing, and I think it's a good time in the show to bring up a certain concert that we're really looking forward to, at least. August 13th, Toledo, Ohio, for everyone watching. We have invited these guys out, and they generously accepted, and we are super excited. Is this first time out, or have you had other concerts? What's in the works? You got stuff going?
Yeah. So we had our first show was like a year ago, September-ish. It was at Jonesboro, I said that right, Jonesboro River Valley, in Indiana. It was like a biker thing. It was huge, but like I guess how do I explain it? It was like a giant like biker rally, but there was also a bigger stage down the way. I guess is a good way to put it. That was called Pit Fest. It's something that A1M puts on, if you know them. And then we had a show June 10th, about a month ago in Greenwood, at Get to the Point Fest, which is at like the Point Church. It was with like Reclaim the Day, Divine Martyrs and all them. So we've only played 2 shows just because my drummer and I are still in college, and then Lincoln is actually still in high school, and like so we have a very busy schedule outside of all this, but we're finally starting to get more shows out. So a week from Thursday, July 28th, we actually have a show with Within the Day in Tennessee. So that'll be our first out-of-state show, which will be fun. That's at the warehouse in Clarksville. And then we have that show with you guys, the Polish Ostrich in Toledo. And then we're looking at getting more shows here soon. Roland is actually also our manager, so he's looking at getting us booked with more shows, but more local shows since school's starting back up, and we're not going to really be able to go too far away.
Yeah, we're really trying to set something up with one of our favorite venues. I know me and Lincoln go there all the time. Actually, it's where I first met Nevaeh, called the Hoosier Dome in Indy. So really working on getting a show there probably sometime in the fall. So
awesome.
Great stuff.
So you had mentioned that you got an EP coming out. What can you tell us about the new music? I mean, when's it going to drop? When can we expect it?
The goal is the end of the year, because we're working on that, but then we're also working on a music video for Decay that's going to release around the same time-ish. Plus,
we're kind of looking for that to kind of kick off the EP, if that makes sense. Just getting all that content and everything done with the pre-production and being able to roll that EP out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we also record with Reclaim the Day Studios, and if you have kind of been paying attention to them at all, they're kind of on tour right now, so we're on hold on recording for now. But we have Relief just about done. I have to redo some of my vocals, but we basically only have 2 songs left, but we could record fairly quick. It's just a matter of scheduling. So goal is the end of the year.
Nice. We can't wait to see it.
Exactly.
So, out of all the venues, and I know you guys have played, what's been your favorite so far?
Well, I kind of really enjoyed the Jonesboro River Valley just because it was our first show. It was a great first experience. Yeah, I don't know. It was chill. Like, there was food trucks everywhere, so that's always a plus. Out of the 2, that's probably it. No hate to the Point Church, obviously, but I think the Jonesboro River Valley was definitely most memorable out of the 2. But
Very nice. Is there, now you kind of mentioned one, but is there a dream venue you'd like to play at? Is there, or a festival? A lot of people get involved in the festivals. What do you think
Yeah.
of that?
Well, I know for me personally, my dream venue to play has always been Red Rocks in Colorado. Like, I remember seeing a video on YouTube of a band playing there when I was a kid, and I'm like, I want to play there one day. And festival-wise, I'd probably say Incarnation, which is actually going on. Actually, I think it might be over now, but I know it was going on this weekend over in Ohio. Yeah, yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Also, I mean, getting on at Kingdom Come Fest would be cool because I grew up going to that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, like, I mean, Convictions just made their debut there, which was awesome. And
Dude, I'm so sad I missed that.
yeah, it was so good. They shredded it. It was great. But yeah, I think getting on there and then, I mean, Chicago House of Blues. I feel like that's just like once you play there, it's like you made it.
I just drove past that like 2 days ago, and I was just like, one day.
Or Old National Center, because I mean,
that's like an iconic Indiana. Like, yeah, hometown show.
Yeah.
So, for listeners of Rock for Him that are unfamiliar with you guys, what is something that you would want them to know about you?
Very loaded question.
Nev, I'll let you go first on this one. Honestly, just about us as a band, I would say we're just out here to have a good time and try to connect with people. Like, it's our passion. And obviously, you know, we appreciate the people who listen, because without them, I mean, we're just a bunch of people making a bunch of noise.
We've been accused of the same thing, just making a bunch of noise.
I would definitely want to say, do not be afraid to approach us if you see us. I know that I can have a very intimidating face when I'm in public. I've been told that. I'm not just saying that. But
yeah, I can confirm.
Okay. But I can promise that we're just chill. You know, we're here to talk to you guys, meet you guys, help in any way we can. Like, we're not just the music. We are people too that have been through stuff that would love to help you.
Awesome.
Hey, that's kind of our line.
Right.
Yeah. Point everybody to Christ.
Yep.
Yep.
So, well, I think our time is kind of wrapping up. What we always do like to do before we close out the show is ask you guys, how can we pray for you? We always want to hear about your Christ story, but we also know that there's always needs, and we want you to be in our prayers. So if you got a couple of requests to throw at us, we'd love to pray with you.
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to my mind is actually our bass player, Ryan, is like really sick. It's not COVID. We don't know what it is exactly, but he's not doing well. And obviously, like, aside from general health things, like, we have that show coming up in a week, and it's just like, I don't want him to be there and just completely dead. And I mean, obviously I want him to get better. I mean, that's the given. Yeah. But he's a very hard worker, and to see him get knocked off his feet is kind of unsettling for, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone in his life.
Yeah.
So definitely prayers for him. And then I know there's been some mental health struggles over here in our band, which, I mean, everyone's going to have those, but it's kind of hit some of us really hard. So I guess prayers for that would be good.
Absolutely. How about you, Roland? Got anything you want us to pray for?
Honestly, just pretty much everything Nev said.
Okay.
But then actually, maybe that I don't melt out here in the sun.
All right. Well, I think I will have my brother Jeremy. You want to go ahead and pray us out tonight?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and pray. Heavenly Father God, we thank you for today. Thank you for the time to spend with Nevaeh and Roland, get to know them and get to know the heart of Tempus Unum, and Lord, just be with them and their band, and help their bass player get better, Lord. And, Lord, strengthen their mind. I know mental health can be a struggle. Lord, I just ask that you strengthen them and just remind them how much you love them and how much you love us. Continue to bless them and continue to show them the music you want them to release, and give them the resources to do that. And Lord, safe travels as they tour these next few weeks. Lord, we pray for him as well, and thank you for the opportunity to do things like the podcast and the radio show. Just continue to use us to glorify your name. And, just continue to draw people to you through us, and help people to see that it's not us, it's you that's most important, God. And we just thank you for this time. We give you all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Well, for my brother Jeremy, my brother Scott, Nevaeh, Roland, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And I just want to
thank you for having us.
Oh, before we get out, where can people find you? Where can we find your music?
So we're on any streaming service. But we actually had a new website go up that was formatted by our dude Roland, who was great at website design. And it is tempusunumband.com. You can find our upcoming concert dates, merch. You can sign up for a newsletter, which I don't think we've sent anything out yet, but like you can do everything that you need to find stuff about us is on there. Social media, links to music, everything.
Awesome. And we'll put a link to that in the show notes so people can just click on it and follow right along. So thank you guys so much for joining us once again. This was a fantastic chat. You guys are welcome back anytime. We're looking forward to the concert.
We are
But
too.
remember, if you're going to rock for him. All right.
If you like what you saw today, hit the subscribe and like button down below, and don't forget to share it to all your friends. Also, leave us a comment down below. If you're gonna rock, rock for him.